Welcome, Aquarius, to your Aquarius March 2021 reading and forecast. This month we're going to use tarot. And as the subscribers know, great love and affection to you, the subscribers know that we use 5 cards, and 5 cards is all we need because they're jam-packed with information, aren't they, for us, for what you will need to know and think about for this month of March 2021. And they have a lot of astrology in them. They have a lot of numerology, mysticism, and spirituality very often, depending on the card, of course. And actually, it's been my great pleasure to do personal readings for a few of you Aquarians, hasn't it, recently? And if you'd like to have a one-on-one clairvoyant reading with me, I use a little bit of tarot, but playing cards and a number of other things, then just check out the information that's in the description box below, and you can see how easy it is for that to happen from wherever you may be living in the world. But now, let's get underway, shall we, and get what you need to know for this month. There's the 8 of Wands, and this is the 7 of Wands. Very interesting. There is the King of Cups. That looks like a Pope. You're going to love the artwork on this, incidentally. There's a 6 of Coins. Fantastic card for you, Aquarius. Gee, I hope I get the 6 of Coins when I pull my cards. And there's the Chariot. Well, come down and have a look at the exquisite original paintings on these cards while I do the reading for you. Now, next month's reading will be published at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time on Wednesday, the 10th of March. Fascinating spread here for you this month. These 2 cards are linked, and let's deal with them first. Here we have the Lord of Endurance, the Lord of Great Strength, really. Let's have a look at the imagery on it, because I think that the imagery can often tell us something about the meaning here. And what do we have here? Well, we have a speaker. This is like something that you might find in Hyde Park in London or in other large parks around the world where people get up and speak to the crowds around them. Well, there is a flushed, fanatic speaker who uses 7 clubs. This is the 7 of Wands. 7 clubs as his podium. He waggles one finger at his listeners while making the sign of victory with his other hand. Now, the listener in yellow expresses, well, doubt, I think, while the man in black, you can just see him behind him here, he seems to be caught in despair. Yeah. Now, a strong young man, sportsman really, dressed in white, listens attentively. Meanwhile, a man in the violet costume here, he is receiving some gold coins from this lady that is dressed in blue. What can we make of this? Now, this is Mars in the, what would I say? Well, in this position here, it would be in the 3rd decan of Leo, and there's a Venus-ruled number 7. I have a mystical association with the planet of Venus. Now, the energy of the suit in Wands is that of fire, but it's weakened. The fire is weakened this far down, away from the ace. If you can imagine the ace being 1, and here we are down at number 7. And the feminine energy of Venus, associated with the numerology for me, dilates the strength of fire in this suit of Wands. Now, Mars in the 3rd decan of Leo, well, in my experience, Mars normally gets on very well in Leo, but in this case, being so low down on the tree, if you like, so far down in the suit, that normal harmony does not exist. And also, the feminine energy of Venus does not sit well with Mars. And it may be that for a time during the period, you feel that it is your Mars energy that is pretty much all that is keeping you going. It may be that you are feeling as if you are fighting a losing battle. Now, Mars in Leo usually indicates someone acting with authority and power, but in this card, that person is going to have to dig deep and use all their resources in what could be a difficult situation. And there may be a lack of focus, perhaps even the beginnings of some desperation in the way they are acting out things. This is about courage, daring, impact, and overcoming obstacles. Now, as I say, you may at some point feel as if you are fighting a losing battle, and that it is only your courage that is keeping you going. Maybe you feel you haven't been dealt the best hand. See, these clubs here, they set themselves up as sort of a wall, don't they? And even things in the background, perhaps, don't seem to be going all that well. You can even feel as if you are on a sinking ship. Now, this can sometimes, I think, relate to relationship problems where you are running out of energy and ideas as to how to keep sustaining it, or to work matters where you feel that you are coming to the end of your tether in relation to something. But I'd say this: be true to yourself, because being true to yourself includes standing up for your own truth, even in the face of immense resistance. Trust your power in this present situation. If it arises for you, you must assert yourself at all costs. And are you ready to accept all consequences? Becoming aware of whatever fears have prevented you until now from asserting yourself, that is a priority for you. And say to yourself at this time, I express my own reality openly and honestly. But I think you are going to get by just fine. It's important, I think, sometimes that these things come up and you're not taken by surprise by them. Because this thing here heralds action to be taken, which is going to lead to some success here, and actually is going to be something of a turning point with you. There might be someone interesting here with something to say. Let's look at this first. Don't you like the paintings on these cards? I find them really useful. Let's have a look here. Well, 8 stakes, this is the 8 of Wands. 8 stakes support vines bearing ripe grapes. Soon, wine will be made in the village. Now, among the vines in the foreground here, a youth declares his love to a coy woman. And in the middle here, the same couple are fighting, kicking, slapping and biting. And at the top, a boy and a girl play, running and weaving in and out among the vines, and the children wear blue and red like the couple themselves. Now, this is the Lord of Swiftness, as I call it. Why? Because it is Mercury ruling the first decan of Sagittarius, that 23rd of November to the 2nd of December. Mercury in Sagittarius. Now, interestingly, this number 8 here, I also have a mystical association with Mercury as well. So there is a double dose of Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius has the swiftness of the arrow. And this produces in you, I think, something of a restless intellect. The number 8 here is also about power, balance, harmony, manifestation, practicality, skill, and decision. I think what we'll see here is clear, direct, swift communication, overcoming misunderstandings, overcoming obstacles. And I think events are going to be moving quite fast for you. Certainly blockages are going to be removed, and opportunities are going to be arriving quickly. The manifestation of results is imminent. The energy represented by this card and this spread enables you to transform any situation, problem, or obstacle by taking fast, swift action with direct communication to resolve it. And it highlights the need for clear communication to manifest the things you want in your life. The energy talks about a refinement here. It's a very refined energy that I see here. Ordinarily in wands I would see flames, but here I get the sense of electricity, that refined, focused, really strong, quick, no messing about. So it shows me that you need to be clear with others to make things manifest for the highest good. And you can expect to be busy, as this card has a lot of energy propelling you to your goals. And I think you might complete a project that is underway and solve it out pretty fast, I think. But it's important for you at this time to determine where your energy will be directed and to then just get on with it. The moment has come for you to define where you stand. If you are open and remain centered, misunderstandings will be cleared. Is there anyone to whom you do not dare to openly state where you stand? Use this opportunity to open yourself up more to those people who mean something to you. Talk to them or text them. Communicate with them and say to yourself, my openness and self-confidence opens the hearts of those I love. Well, where shall we go? Now, if you do that, if you take the advice of this card here, we come down here to the Lord of Material. Success. That's what I call it. I have, as you'll know, have my own names for cards, which is built on years of meditation and mystical work. Now, what do we have here? What is in this picture, in this Six of Coins? Well, a sentinel with a stout lance guards 6 coins. The coins illustrate the meanings of the card with different scenes. A miser hoarding his gold. This is the chariot of Jupiter. A fool with empty pockets who has lost everything. And a fool who is happy at having had a sudden win. A mandala rose here, and a rich man giving a poor man some money, which he weighs out on scales. This is the moon ruling the second decan of Taurus, that 1st to the 10th of May. Now, this is good because the moon in ordinary astrology is exalted in Taurus, so this is a good sign. But the moon's transient nature, it waxes, it becomes full, it wanes, and then it disappears. It means that success may be short-lived. But this is completely natural, isn't it? Because one doesn't have a continuum of success, say, I have a success and it continues along throughout time. Rather, one has a success. One has another success. You get a success here. You have a success there. They're short-lived. Now, the moon in Taurus. Well, the moon likes nurturing and comfort, and Taurus likes material things. So they are well suited for bringing about material success. This is really speaking to me of external manifestation of inner and outer success, and a period of some transformation here for you. Success is the key to this. Generosity both ways, paying it forward. Now, I think you might receive something of value from other people during this period. There may well be, for those who are interested, the grant of a scholarship in relation to education, and for those making application to the welfare system, I think that application is going to be well received. Certainly there will also be a desire for success with you during this period. And of course the advice in that case would be to be willing to risk, to be committed, and trust your intuition. This is also, I think, a reminder for you to remember the successes in your life and to build from on top of those. There could well be the opportunity to be involved in some sort of venture with somebody else, which could be financial, and it could turn out to be successful, but that's a long-term thing, I think, is what's coming through here. Be open to your success. It is no less than a gift you can learn to accept thankfully and humbly. Real success only comes once you have learned to serve. Success under these conditions enriches all levels of your being. What does success mean for you at the moment? Visualize as precisely as possible what your success looks like, and make sure that before you go to sleep, you just have that vision in mind and live it in your mental life. And say to yourself, my self-acceptance and self-confidence, they are the keys to real success. Well, now, where are we going to go next? I think we'll go to the Lord of Waves and Waters, the King of the Hosts of the Sea. Let me have a look at that. Ah, yes, okay. That's a fascinating painting. Let's have a look at this. I think you might be interested in a lot of the detail that surrounds here. This is the King of Cups, otherwise known as. Well, the king is dressed in red and yellow, and he sits on a papal throne. Now, I think he has the features of Pope Leo X, the great Renaissance Pope. He wears red and green, what do you call that stuff? Hose, don't you? Yes, he has red and green hose with little hearts on the garters holding the hose together. And his hands are clad in pink gloves. In his right hand, he holds a large cup. He is the King of Cups, which is shaped like the papal tiara. All right? You probably would have seen ancient popes wearing that type of a thing there. And in his left hand, he clasps the hand of a fair, blonde angel who holds a Chinese sunshade that shelters the king. Now, the angel, who looks like an altar boy to me, he wears a pale blue robe, and on the side of it in white, there are the patterns of seashells that are embroidered on there. Now, at the king's feet, looking down here, these are all renderings, like goes, tryouts, test runs of the painting Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And in the background is the dome of the center of Catholicism. And that was the big game in town, of course, during the Renaissance in Western Europe. And that is the dome of St. Peter's Cathedral, which is in the Vatican City, contained virtually within the borders of Rome. And on this side here, there is a bust of the Venus de Milo. Now, there is a lot of Aquarius around here, but I also see Pisces here. Now, why do I see Aquarius and why do I see Pisces around here? I see Aquarius because I think that you are going to be very independent during this period. And you may be hard to pin down, but you'll have a very good humanitarian outlook. And I think that with this presence of Pisces, these could also relate to other people, you understand. But this presence of Pisces here will give you sensitivity and a sort of a dream-like nature. Yeah. Now, as somebody else, perhaps than you, I think it's a man, and I think it's a man who I might categorize as having commitment issues. You know what I mean by that? Commitment issues. Someone who is amiable and passive, attracted to excitement. unsustainable enthusiasm can be held for projects or people. Someone who is sensitive, but deep down, somebody who is actually really quite passive. Now, he's mostly passive, I think, with the qualities of Venus or of a weak Jupiter. He's kind of friendly in a passive way, but on the whole, he is so superficial that it's hard to reach his depth. His name is written in water. Now, as a king, esoterically, he's fire, and in the suit of cups, water. He's the fiery part of water. Well, if you put water and fire together, what do you get? You get conflict. So I think that we can expect some sort of volatility within the character of the person. I think this is a time when you will be surrendering to your beloved ones, and you'll have a great capacity for giving and reaching higher emotional planes, I think. You could also develop a higher degree of spirituality. This is another person, though. I think that other person, and these court cards can, as you know from my readings, relate to either gender. But that person might be someone who has managed their affairs in such a way that without luck, their career could be an unbroken record of failure. And often their mental civil wars lead to substance abuse or drinking. But this speaks to me of great inner contentment and great happiness for you, which radiates outwards to enrich those around you. That's either emotionally or spiritually. Now, there may be a time when you feel that you can't get what you want in love and relationships. I think what you want a relationship which is deep, really deep, don't you? And sometimes they can be hard to come by. And sometimes when you have doubts about yourself that ricochet off that, it's quite okay to go and get reassurance from other people. There might also be a period there where you do lack a little bit of energy there. This other person, though, I think that they are at best loving and generous. They're supportive and tender, and they can be capable of quite high spiritual achievement. And I've got to say this also, and the lesbian and gay communities, please make the necessary adjustment, but they like the opposite sex, and the opposite sex likes them. They're charming, but they're not always all that deep, you know. Somebody who is ruled by the emotions, not very practical, and will very often try and flatter you rather than pick up their share of the expenses. They're often intensely insecure, needing reassurances. And at worst, that other person could be unfaithful, fickle, shallow, highly emotional, and unreliable. I think you yearn for intensive interchange with those of like mind and like outlook. How can the interchange in your relationships be enriched? Seek out your true family, the community in which you feel at home. There you will find the quality of communication you long for, and say to yourself, I am finding the contact that I need. This other person, though, if they're like that, they can be great fun to be with, but understand they're not in your life for very long. Let's look at the final card then, shall we? The chariot. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? I'm just looking at this background here. This is reminiscent of, I suppose, a few hundred years ago, or what today I kind of recognize as the city of the countryside around Verona at the foot of the Alps. Here the charioteer is sitting in a square chariot. There's a blue canopy with gold stars upon it. He's holding a scepter in his hand with an arrow point. The reins of these horses he's holding with a golden ring. Now on his shoulders here, you may be able to see it, there is a blue epaulet and a red epaulet. and they signify knowledge of the past and knowledge of the future. The two horses here, the one is rising up, the white one, that refers to our spiritual nature, and the black one, prancing downwards, refers to our carnal or sensual nature. And of course the object for the charioteer is to keep both in harmony with one another. Well, he is the child of the powers of water, the lord of the triumph of light. This is a symbol for victory, and this is victory over adversity for you. You've come through a difficult period and now you're overcoming it, I think. You'll have the courage to act, which is great because it's all very good having the idea to act, but unless you have the courage to act as well, then what's the point? You will have success over previous negative patterns. There's a focus on self-discipline here. It could also be because of the other cards that are around it. And sitting next to this guy here, I think there could well be a period of rest and contemplation for you during that period as well. But the overall energy is one of you moving forward and moving to higher ground. It's triumph in the face of adversity, which is what this card was talking about, which is sitting on the top of it. So it's definitely going to be the case there. That's reinforced it. Overcoming problems, success perhaps with little or no support received from other people. You may be coming to the aid of other people. I think what this is saying to you also is that it's an indication of change. It's a time of movement, changes in lifestyle around you. They're all positive. They probably do. Now, look, you may not necessarily be a detailed person, but I think that you might actually look at details at the moment. But your real interest will be as a generalist to look at all sorts of things. The oncoming change promises to lead to a positive phase of your life. Ready yourself. Put your affairs in order. Examine the possibilities. You're going to leave a lot behind. What areas of your life will be changing? Are you ready to ring out the old and ring in the new? Say to yourself, I motivate others positively, and I am putting my life in order and preparing for the new beginning. Fantastic set of cards. Well done, Aquarius. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed doing that. What a fascinating reading, and what a great month it looks like it's going to be for you. Now, please do me a favor, press the like button. It's good for the YouTube thing, and it's good for the channel. I appreciate it. And look, there's one thing I want you to remember until I see you next month, and it is this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.